Well, I guess that's your take on my intro. Hi, good morning. You made me lose my breath. Hi, Quill. Hi, Dice. Good morning, good evening. Whatever you want to see. You definitely want to see this. Right here. This is what you want to see, right? Let me lower the volume on this music. I am not ready for this. I'm still not ready. You know why? Because there are thousands of different characters and all have female voices. I will still not be able to do that. That's for sure. You can guess why. Oh, there is a little bit of lag. Auto's not on chapter 14. Okay, let's load this up again. Chapter 14. Here, it for you are. Come, I posted. I think I saw this and I see that the picture is broken. Yeah, Dice already showed this for me. I don't know how much you can see it. Obviously you can see the whole thing. Yeah, I already saw this, luckily. Because Dice showed me this on Discord. It's a nice cover. Oh, I didn't even notice that Puppet Master is here. And they are looking at least one of them is looking at Puppet Master, who can see. Huh? I thought that was posted in chapter 14 already. Oh, you didn't post what you wanted to show me? Okay, let's load this back. Yeah, I tried to put that picture in the author's note. Yeah, there is a little bit of problem with that, which is this. I don't know if you can see it. Right here. It's a broken link. You didn't show it. It's not gonna load up. But we can see it in the author's note, so that's fine. In the Deviant art page. But yeah, we can still find the picture. And it's a really good picture. And I was bedazzled by this little puppet master right there. Well, you showed yourself your own problem. But yeah, we are here for reading, right? I won't be able to finish today either. There's still a lot, so I guess we can get to this point, maybe? Around here. I don't know how good this stopping point will be. Or this one. But I see there are some stopping points we can use. I could actually show version here, so it's start to stop here. Oof. So let's lower this volume again. And let's get ready. Because let's see where we left off. Oh yeah! Grace Cross Matter showed up. That's where we stopped. So I guess this music should be fine. Strappy widened her eyes in astonishment. You saw your dead mother again? It was a time clone copy of her. Featherwind elaborated. She was borrowed from a moment before she died. Featherwind rubbed his face with both of his hooves. That was the kindest, and same time the cruelest act of the Doctor had ever done for me. That and a lot of friends have showed up with the Doctor, and claimed most of them is something called a time clone. Yep, so anything they do with them, even if they kill them, it will not do anything to the original ones. You can imagine my father's and uncle's reaction as well. That was pretty intense, but for them, most of the emotional stuff was hovered before they got to me. For me, this was crashing down on top of me all at once. I have a disciplined mind too. I had been through a lot by that point in my life. I could even concentrate on multiple separate spells at once. This isn't easy. Try to imagine multiple separate walls in your head, complete with detailed picture of every brick of each separate wall. It gets tricky, especially to hold that image in your head and not let that slip. Featherwind released a long breath, then said, You know what, honey? I need a little bit of break. This is a complex moment for my history, and there was a lot going on through that point. And it felt especially overwhelming in the beginning. I had more time to adjust and get to know them later on. But right then at the start, it was just one explosive surprise after another. To refresh my memory, I need to consult my notes that I wrote down here. He delicately lifted and shook the red crystal for emphasis. I also need a moment to clear my head before I get back to my story. I thought you had that before. Okay, Dad, no worries, take your time. I think I could use a break as well to help me absorb all of this too. Oh my god, if I knew this was happening, this would be the place where I stopped. Absolutely, sweet pea. The Featherwind agreed as he reached over and ruffled her mane a bit. Oh, Dad! Strappy sadly complained, but she also enjoyed the attention. Featherwind then stood up, bit back in a bit. If you need me, call my name out in the wind. I know the drill, Strappy assured. Okay. With that, Featherwind leapt off and put his hooves in the four pockets of the mist cloak. The wind caught it and billowed it, which propelled him up even faster, which left Strappy to dwell on her thoughts as well. Early on, during that time, a startling revelation occurred to her. And this is where we stop. Bye. Good reading. No, just kidding. This would have been a better stopping point, isn't it? Well, I guess no turning back now. I don't have the time machine to change my reality, so... Let's just continue. I'm back! Did you miss me? Featherwind asked his daughter upon returning to her after a 4-hour break. Oh, I see you're continuing magnetic practice. Strappy was hovering a rock between her hooves. The rock was spinning in various different directions. Which direction it spun depending on which way she was spinning the energy between her hooves. She is using Rasengan. Put on this sound effect. I don't have that right now. It's a separate. Yeah, it's on my disk. I can't do that right now. She abandoned her project seconds after he landed though. Honestly, she had hoped he would return a while ago, because she had a question burning in her mind for quite a while. Dad, as she spoke, she dropped the rock. I want you to tell me honestly. She looked swelling in her eyes. Was I there in the past, as a temporal crime clone? Father paused, as he considered his answer. Then he answered her question with another question. Do you want to be? Dad, just answer the question, please. Starbase backed. Your future is up to you, Father said. Whatever you do by then is your choice. Let me reflect the question. Pretend the doctor came and claimed you right now. You snatched up from an infinitesimal frozen moment in time, and then he offered a chance to go back in time and face the ultimate evil in the distant past. Would you accept it right now? No, that's not how it works. It's a time clone. It's a time clone. we had been through this. Starbase blinked. I don't know. It sounds scary, but at the same time, I would be super curious and excited. I mean, if my star saw the building in person, time clone or no, that's a fantastic moment. I'm sure the others were very exciting as well, but I'm just a young filly, Dad. What am I supposed to do against ultimate evil? Well, obviously, it can be not a young filly version of you. In that case, when do you think you would be ready for such an offer? But I've been probed on board. It doesn't really matter what I say, right? Starbase checked. I mean, at least from your perspective, if it will happen, then it already has happened, so tell me. Where was I? Was I there? Or wasn't I? Father sat beside her and greatly stroked the hoof up and down her spine. As he did so, he said, I chose not to tell you. Whether you are there or not is up to you. I will never be willing to take that choice away from you. If you really want this at any point in your life, you might have been there. Otherwise, the answer is no. I advise you, as you listen to my story, to try imagine what you might have said or done in that situation before, because one day it might become a choice you will have to face. No, that's not true. That's not true. I have to disagree, because it's a time clone of yours. She doesn't have to change anything, unless the doctor would be so stupid that he would take the original version at that point. If you didn't mean stars were the bearded or any other famous pony that you care about, and that pony happened to be among us, what would you say or do? No matter what you think you might say or do, you are always correct. Time is fluid. It's all changing all the time. The past, the present, the future is always changing. I remember one version of history. You might experience another. If you do, it's because of your choices. Remember that, Starbase. It's always because of your choices. Remember that, Quill. You are telling a story. If you are missing parts, that's gonna be an incomplete story. If I played an important role in the past, how are you going to explain that to me without telling me if I was there or not? Regardless of your involvement or not, I will outright skip those parts of my story. But I'm in the shot. It's up to you to fill those gaps. Decide now what you would have done if you had been there, and if you change your mind later, then fill in the gap with your new version of your choice. You could potentially be borrowed as a time clone at any possible moment, so the possibilities on what you would have done in the past is endless. I will say, it would make more sense to borrow you from a healthier, older, and more experienced version of yourself. The doctor does not like to endanger young force anyway. That's just his policy. He was quite reluctant to accept vision for the same reason, as you may recall. If this will actually happen to you, it is far more likely you are borrowed from another and stronger version of yourself, and I would personally agree with the doctor on that point. It just makes more sense in every second of your life from this point forward. Think about my story on occasion, especially this chapter of it. If you were there, what would you have done? Whatever you decide, that's probably what you did. No matter what I decide, even though I won't remember any of it, Starbase realized with a frown. For me, it's like it never happened. That's exactly what it was like for almost every other creature in our party back then. Only I, Vision, your mother, Derpy the doctor, and Discord remember the whole story. Well, at least parts were personally there for. Every one of us was at one place at a time, except maybe Discord. Actually, he had a frequent habit of making multiple copies of himself all the time. Ah! Starbase finally pointed her hoof at her father. You said his name! You said his name! He might pop it now! And he pops in. That's always possible, so I won't stress my entire life away at the mere possibility that he could show up. Yes, saying his name does increase the odds, or that's only because it might gather his attention. Probably saying Captain Woods gathers his attention even more. Even now, even if you have it, he may or may not show up. Seems to be he rolls the dice in his own head to decide things like that. Given how totally random he is, it's never wise to count on him from moment to moment. If he does show up, don't count on it being fun either. It will be fun for him, on his standards. If you happen to share his sense of humor, then lucky you. Otherwise, you might have a hard time with him. I know your mother had never appreciated his sense of humor. From her perspective, he is a cruel and sadistic bully, and it gushes her that he is too powerful to do anything about it. For me, I found him fun on occasion, but sometimes his jokes go too far. Sometimes I even think he regrets it. Discord is like an immortal foe, that's constantly struggling against boredom. With an eternity to work with, imagine how boring life would become if you make no effort to make it entertaining. Even with all of reality at your hoof tips, eventually you have done it all. I kind of feel sorry for Discord if he never learns to change, but honestly, that was already happening when I met him. So it's basically you are telling the tale of Undertale for Discord. He claims he used to be worse, and he also claims Fluttershy motivated him to be a better Draconicus. Which is the name of his race, by the way. Until he changes it again, anyway. I had the chance to meet Fluttershy in person. At last, and I have to say, they initially make an odd pair. But when I contemplate how powerful and not only potent being like him might feel, the weight of eternity always pressing on his chest, looking at life from a new perspective could make everything feel new and fresh again. This time, it happened to be Fluttershy that guided him to that perspective. Eventually, it will be some other pony or creature. This is good for him. He needs to allow himself to the flexibility to change as often as he needs to. Indeed, he does it all too frequently, but being random certainly is one way to avoid stagnation. Boredom will always be his ultimate enemy, and if he didn't defend himself from it, then he has enough time on his claw/paw for it to get really bad. How was this journey a challenge when you had an ally who could literally do anything? Starbase wondered. I will tell you flat out right now. He can do anything, but he can do everything. I know that might not make much sense at first, but bear with me. He actually couldn't defy the Dark Star, for example. Yet it actually sounds like the Changeling Hive, as I said before. It was semi-intelligent savage animal, but it was capable of almost any kind of power, as long as it stands for the dark emotions. It was capable of learning from opponents, its opponents by reflecting their greatest fears right back at them. This guy was not immune to that. He had fears of his own, and if he got tortured by them, he was at risk of slipping the dark side again. Also, he wasn't the kind of being that could be relied upon as consistent ally. He will do whatever he wants, at all times, and he prides himself on thumbing his nose at authority. I can't speak right now. He is, and was, normally the worst kind of team player. He even fought with his own copies of himself at times, but I heard he can be good team player if he considers the cooperative game to be fun. Fluttershy's influence, and all others who generally call him a friend, keep his antics more on the positive side. But we were against an enemy that could so easily switch him back to evil again. Just like he could pop in clones of himself at any moment. Imagine if the Darkstar started doing that too. Learning from this good example, it follows suit. No. The true weapon against the Darkstar here was friendship, and all the positive feelings that came with it. It was the power the Darkstar couldn't copy, and that the only way it could counter it was throwing in overabundance of opposite influence. It always worked to try to bring us apart, because that was where we were at our strongest. And that's why the doctor brought my mother along. My mother, Silvershine, was by no means a warrior of any kind. She could not think to harm even a bug. She wasn't the only pony like that in our group either. Derpy and Fluttershy were also like her in many ways. All of them had incredible innocence. They were all adorable, and they all lit up the room with their smiles. They were deeply in touch with their emotions. They were all easily scared, but when they grasped onto their courage, they exploded with it. Fighting the Darkstar didn't just require some awesome flyers and warriors and sparksters, it required mind and heart. My mother had a radiant heart, so did Derpy, so did Fluttershy, and I can probably add myself as well to this. What about Stormwing? I very often have a sensitive side. I can lose control of myself many times because of it. I won't say I'm very innocent, but I often do lead by my heart. I'm actually quite mad at him that he actually added himself to the list first, then Stormwing herself. You see what I say, right, Quill? What about Stormwing? She's the love of her life. He would add her to the list first, before himself. The list of radiant hearts. Stormwing has a firmer control of her emotions. Yeah, but he's not talking about emotions. She's talking about radiant hearts. Yeah, they were deeply in touch with their emotions, but Stormwing is in touch with them. She's just not. No, she's showing them as well. She can control them, but she's still deeply in touch with them. That's how and why I made such intense connection with the sky. I didn't master this by studying scrolls. I mastered this because I felt my way through it, and that was a habit I could never just suddenly drop, no matter how convenient it could have been throughout multiple points of my life. It was also my strength many times as well, and it helped me to help my friends through most of this arduous journey. The doctor. He really didn't bring Silvershine along for my sake, or my father, or my uncle. He brought her because she was the right choice to help us save the world from this particular threat. He knew this was an opponent that would require many kinds of varied skills and talents. It was just that challenging, and he also knew that. In the end, our emotions were the ultimate key to defeating this thing. Very Heart was the Crystal Heart. I will say it again. Very Heart was the Crystal Heart. It was embedded in her kitty mark, and it's what helped to cause her existence. She was born an unicorn because of connection to Crystal Heart, and no other pony in the world could control it like she could. She even shattered it as an infant on accident, and that was why. She always had an intense connection to it. It's honestly remarkable how similar her kitty mark appeared to be when compared to her mother's. Now, the Crystal Heart was a stored medium of emotion of all those who choose to imbue it. Because of that combined essence, it had the power to do amazing things, not the least of which was to protect us from negative energy, and it could do it in a wide radius as well. By combining all those positive feelings, it also magnifies it. So, what if that emotion was projected at the elements of harmony? Pinkie Pie, Fluttershy, Rainbow Dash, Applejack Rarity, and Twilight Sparkle. What about the last one? They all shared intense connection to the very force that was the biggest drive for harmony in our lands. And the Dark Star is as the Dark Star is to evil, the Tree of Harmony is to good, and these 6 were the main branches of that tree. As such, they could tap into the stored energy that was gathered through Equestria, and the Crystal Heart could multiply that power, like magnifying glass. I guess he doesn't know that there are 7 elements right now. One of the biggest reasons is why every creature was there was to empower the Crystal Heart, so that it in turn could empower the elements of harmony. Even they couldn't do this alone. They took out villains that almost wrecked the entire world, but they were nothing compared to the source of dark strength. This time, for once, the elements of harmony alone wasn't enough. It would take us all to overpower this overwhelming force, and we would have to do it in the right way. So basically, the Doctor prepared a catalyst, which is her mother, also a storage, which is Crystal Heart, and 2 magnifying glasses, which are basically the 2 elements of harmony, the old ones and the new ones. Well, he definitely prepared a serious firepower, and also prepared some of the best magic users as well, but those were there for their magic powers, not only for the friendship. The Doctor was a genius. I said it before and I will say it again. Before he showed up, he already had this brilliant plan in motion. He brought it with him, what it would actually take to defeat the opponent, this powerful. But to do it, we would all have to work together on this one. There is just no other way to succeed. Well, if they didn't succeed with this firepower, then they would not succeed at all. But before I get to that part, let me explain more of the important things we went through that help prepare us to face this enemy. Like I said before, the friendship was the key to success in this case, but many of us met each other for the first time, and even included Princess Cadence and Shining Armor with their daughter. According to their parents, they had never seen the adult version of their child before. I don't know why the Doctor chose a younger version of Flurry Heart's parents. I try to think it's because they died along the way, and I honestly can't reject the dark possibility, as much as I'd like to. But whatever the case may be, the 3 of them were getting to know each other for the first time. Doctor went and got Doomslayer, the Elements of Rage. Yeah, but that's the element of rage is a thing, and that is basically one of the elements of these harmonies. So he wouldn't get them. Because obviously the element of rage, Doomslayer would be turned against them because of the evil power. Isn't that right? But actually, Quill's core or Featherwind didn't realize why the Doctor chose to bring the earlier versions, the younger versions of Flurryheart's parents. I know why. Because of love. Love was much more prominent in their younger life when they were just meeting each other. When Flurryheart was born. That was probably when their love is at peak. He's too angry to be turned evil. Is he? Are you sure that the demons are just not there? You are going there on their own territory and you are killing them. They are just defending their territories. I'm kidding, by the way. Likewise, my mother never met the adult version of me, either. On this journey, I had the plentiful privilege to get to know how she would have felt if she encountered me as an adult. The list goes on. Well, the Doomslayer fights evil for all eternity across dimensions. So yeah, I'm getting off the I hope you can finish the next scene tonight as well. We will see. The list goes on. Many of the creatures brought along each other Many of the creatures brought along each had a unique contribution to the group project, and for it to fulfill its greatest potential, we all had to get to know each other and care for one another deeply, even if they were temporary time clones. That doesn't make the feelings less real, and against the Doctor, that's all that mattered. There were other advantages to being a time clone as well. Sacrificing their lives would not put their original selves at risk. They were also stuck in whatever condition they were in when the Doctor borrowed them. So he made sure to borrow them from the moment they were fully awake and not hungry, because otherwise it would be stuck constantly hungry and feeling tired. Their hearts did not beat either. Oh, that's new. That was an odd sensation from them. They never needed to sleep or eat, though they could do both if they wanted to, which Amber proved earlier by demanding a crystal from Sombra. In a way, they had infinite stamina as well, because they were stuck in temporal condition they were borrowed from. That's a lot to get used to, and very different state of existence. The downside was they would remember none of this adventure, but that didn't mean they couldn't make the difference. Victory in this case was more important than the battle. They didn't need to remember this to save the world, and their lives could just go on, like nothing happened. From them, it was just a dream. But remember, me, Starving, Vision, Derpy, the Doctor and Discord were all there to actually experience everything that happened. Also the natives of the timeline that we brought. They would remember this too. That also meant we could get sick, we could get tired, we could get hungry, we would need sleep, and we would die. We could die. Like I did throughout this story like several times. We were actually there to experience every risk and reward, and remember, it was a very extreme risk. It wouldn't be a stretch to say, where is the immortal souls on this quest, considering the nature of this enemy. It was all about corruption, so we truly faced the threat head on. None of us could do this on our own, so the efforts of all those time clones were absolutely vital. Because we had temporal copy of the crystal heart as well, it also meant we had the spirits of every pony who enchanted it with us as well. This is very important to understand. Every pony who leaves the border divides the weight equally between every pony who participated in the project. We may have been less than bugs to this enemy, but bugs can swarm, and this was a group with a united cause of spirit. Well, yeah. Now you have a serious firepower, as I mentioned earlier. So are we ready to strike? Probably not. Probably not. And it was not me who changed the music, but it's actually fine, because we got to this point at the right time. As I said earlier, our initial meeting was quite complicated. There were so many ponies meeting the other ponies and other creatures, not to mention the natives that were already there. Good timing. Yes, Sakurai was just floored by what he encountered. I told him he could trust the doctor, and that alone was difficult for him to accept, but he trusted me to a point. So he went along with the project I was proposing to help summon the doctor. But when the doctor showed up, he brought a veritable army along with him. This was an overload for General Sakurai's sensibilities. I think he felt like the city was being invaded by a bunch of powerful aliens from the future, ones that could clear the entire sky of clouds in 6 seconds flat. At that point, there were too many targets to study. In the end, he basically just backed off, overwhelmed by the situation, and he didn't know how to hoofle it. He can't hoofle it because he doesn't have hoofs. Honestly, I could well sympathize with him in this case. I was more familiar with the newcomers, and even I felt overwhelmed. From what I know happened next, was we were moved to a large reception hall, where we basically was just mingled. An odd curiosity of the temporary state of existence. None of the time clones needed to sleep, ever, so they didn't need beds either. Whatever they chose to do in this time period, could do it tirelessly and constantly. Actually, I take it back. Mental and emotional fatigue could eventually settle in. Doing the same thing over and over again leads to boredom, and the time clones were not immune to that, because their minds and emotions were among the few aspects of them that were not frozen in time. The fact that their emotions could flourish was the really principal reason they were there, and emotions were capable of anything, including boredom. There were far too many conversations that took place for me to remember them all, and besides, I wasn't there for them all. Of the ones I was involved with, or at least overheard, let me give you some snippets to serve as just some small examples of the kinds of conversations that took place there. Besides, some of these conversations led to important discoveries or decisions later on the road, so I need to cover those. Let's see. What are some examples I could tell you? Oh, I know! So, for the wind, Twilight lets me... Who is speaking? I don't know. I guess it's a girl, because most of them are girls. So for the wind, Twilight tells me you were the first unicorn to apply to the Wonderbot Academy. I guess that's Rainbow Dash then. Why did you drop out? Rainbow Dash approached upon approaching Feather Wind, who was just talking to Starsword a moment ago. In fact, Starsword was still standing there, waiting on an answer to question he just proposed himself a moment ago until they both got interrupted by Rainbow Dash. That statement honestly surprised Starsword, so his wide-eyed look transferred to Rainbow Dash to Feather Wind. Normally he should be almost completely ignorant about the Wonderbots, but this version of Starsword was actually borrowed from Feather Wind's future, not the past. Apparently, he got locked in limbo for the Pony of Shadows for over 1,000 years before being pulled out by Twilight and her friends. Luckily we know this. When that adventure concluded luckily with a happy ending, Starsword had a chance to explore the realm, as he called it, of the future. During these travels, he encountered many things, including information of famous groups, like the Wonderbot. He knew by then what they represented and had at least the idea how difficult it should be to join such an illustrious group. So to hear a member of his own race had once joined the academy was quite a shock for him. Also, that was the episode that made me hate Star Sword. Also, as a quick note to fill in, what Star Sword and I were talking about just a moment before was my future role in the army, as we march our way north to banish the Dark Star. He always spoke with my father and uncle a moment ago. He also spoke, okay. And they all concluded that I might be a valuable asset to the spellcasting team to this army, of which Star Sword himself intended to be part of naturally. Yeah, I remember that. Star Sword came to me to gauge my intentions in the coming days, and in this journey he called the Road to Darkness. I didn't make an official decision yet before we got interrupted. I believe at that point he was about to discuss options, but then Rainbow Dash showed up with a question that put a quick halt to our previous conversation. There were many reasons, Rainbow Dash. Fatherwind answered. You couldn't just hack it, so you quit? Rainbow Dash asked, while with a little bit of offended tone. Another quick note. At this point of our conversation, I had yet to see Rainbow Dash ever land on the ground. Whenever she went, and whenever she chose to talk to, she constantly did it by flapping in the air. Hey, she's a time clone. She is tireless. Imagine we will have King Sombra and father having a talk with Feather. Yeah, they are family. They should. But at that point, they might not know it. Do they? At least, not Sombra. Sombra gets to know it after. Well, they might have been informed about it. Okay. I know that as a time clone, she basically had infinite stamina, but come on, even for a Wonderbot, that kind of dedication to the sky seemed ridiculous. Says who? The one who is one with the winds? I've seen a Wonderbot up close too, and I know them well enough to realize this behavior was unusual. There were other members of the Wonderbot, but also here, in that room for the Rainbow Dash's timeline, and they were trotting about on the ground just fine. Not ever I remain in the sky all the time, and I am one with that element. I guess this habit was more distinctive for Rainbow Dash's personality, specifically. She just liked to fly, period. Life is really that simple, Rainbow. Fatherwind announced. It's a little hard to explain, but I will try. Picture a cutie mark, and that it represents what it represents. Then imagine trying to force yourself to fit in with the opposite environment. In my case, it wasn't nearly that extreme, but what does it give you? But that does give you an idea how it felt. I joined the academy because of the Wonderbots. We were the best flyers in Equestria, and I wanted to test my limits to its fullest. That they also saved my life, so I wanted to repay the favor by teaming up with them. It turns out, I don't work too well with a rigid environment. My element is in the sky, and like the wind, I meant to be free, tied of restrictions. The boss rules and regulations proved too strict, but at least I understood its importance. Pushing oneself to that level of skill, especially as a team, requires a lot of coordination. And I'm not saying I'm a bad team player, but I couldn't imagine myself matching with the board's extreme standards for the rest of my life. I had to use the wind to fly, because I don't have wings, and it didn't feel right to discipline the wind like that. Plus, my methods of flying messed up the other cadets flying in close formation. I can force the wind to become tight enough to prevent that from happening. I love the boss, Rainbow, and I truly value all that they have taught me. They really have improved my flying skills far better than anything I had ever accomplished before that point, but as a lifestyle choice, I am just a one pony for that. Doing this also ignored my other abilities as a unicorn. Every day, the bots told me not to use my magic, because the other Pegasi could not do that. And so they did not rely upon those methods. I had to use my magic to fly, but they restricted it, and the wind does not do well with restrictions. Bottom line is, I need more freedom than the boss permitted. I actually imagine Rainbow Dash just dozing off doing this and only hearing the first two lines. Hearing only things like, Wonderbots are the best flyers. I meant to be free. I can't use magic. Something like this. This is all she hears. And just like, yeah, sure, yeah. Flying like she used to, which is still impossible, by the way. Flying backwards on your back. Also, Halloween looked down suddenly. I had trouble fitting in with that card to boot. I don't like competition because I hate being either the winner or loser. I don't like hurting other opponents' feelings. As much as this might shock you, there were plenty at the academy. And the boys that took personal offense to me being there. In their eyes, it wasn't a unicorn's place, so they teased and even attacked me, in some regards. Dude, that's rough, Rainbow said with a bit of wide eyes, and astonished by what she heard. This is seriously wrong if any of the cadets, especially if any of the Wonderbots tease you because of your age. For what it's worth, I would have stuck up for you if you had been in my academy. And yes, because that's a different academy at that point. They have learned from this, especially from Featherwind leaving. They learned from it. Thanks, Rainbow, Featherwind said with a small appreciative smile. I mean it, Rainbow insisted. The Wonderbots is supposed to be only inspiring other ponies to be their best. If any of them had been spreading the opposite message, well, it would have been a difficult time accepting them as my personal friend. It would probably take a few extra steps amongst them. That said, Rainbow Dash flew a bit higher as she said, I'm curious about something. Felix said you were one of the fastest, if not the fastest flying unicorn Equus has ever seen, so I have a proposal for you. I see where this is going. She flew in close with him, with a daring grin. Race me! Why are you not paying attention? I just told you I hate competition. I'm going to excuse myself for a moment. Stamets politely requested as he backed off, with a bit of uncomfortable look to him. Good luck with your... He looked kinda wise down for a split second, and back to Featherwind. Whatever this is. When you have an answer to my question, let me know. I will, I promise. I'll consider your offer carefully. Featherwind promised to Starwind calmly. Promise? What? Rainbow Dash asked curiously with a raspy voice as she looked back and forth between Starsword and Featherwind. Ah, he will explain. He will explain. Excuse me. Starward spun about and took off in a hurry. One could only wonder how he managed to go that fast without tripping over his own long ropes. He's interested for me to join the Spectre squad in the army, as we make our way north. Featherwind announced to Rainbow Dash simply. Ah, a pony of many talents, huh? That's kind of awesome, so I like you. Actually, I have a proposal of my own, aside from the race. Shoot, Featherwind invited her. Twilight tells me your Cutie Mark talent mostly involves weather control. Is this true? Correct. Featherwind nodded. I am the wind. Huh, that is awesome. For the first time, Rainbow Dash was finally starting to truly fangasm. Why, she wiggled all of her limbs, which was head very straight. and really useful on my own team as well. As you know, some of the wonderboards from my own time have joined me on this journey. We also have Flash Magnus and his team of the Royal Region, and there are new Blue Fires of Celestia's Royal Guard and British Cleaners. They will also be part of the flying squad of this army. I have to tell you, with your ability to control weather, you can be seriously strong as of our team, and you can still use magic to do it. I'm not suggesting to reject Star's Sword of Fur. I'm saying you should join both teams, since your talents are naturally fit for both. If one team needs you more than another, in any particular moment, then of course you could be mainly with them, but since you like freedom anyway, why not keep your options wide open? That's a good point. I may seriously take you up on that. Featherwind said with a grateful grin at Rainbow Dash. And that's why Featherwind chose to not join any of them. Trust me kid, with you under my wing, I will make sure no one gives you any guff. Rainbow promised, with a confident swipe of a hoof in front of her. In front of her from the left to right. Thanks. As far as race is concerned, I don't think it as a competition. Rainbow gave a dismissive wave. Instead, think of it as a bonding exercise. I've been told that one of the biggest points of this journey is to bond and get to know each other. That way you guys can help us out more. The elements of harmony. Well, I happen to be one of the elements, and I would seriously like to know what you're capable of. Now, I've seen flying unicorns before. Wait. What? Now I've seen flying unicorns before. This word throws me off. I don't think now is needed here. if she is speaking about rarity and starlight. Also rarity. Don't forget about that. Don't forget about flying rarity. Never forget about the burning wings. You have? Featherwind asked in pleasant astonishment. That news pleased him very much to hear. Yep, not many of them, mind you, just a few. One of them is here actually. 2 of them are there. Rainbow flew higher and scanned around carefully. After a few moments, she could not look at the one she was looking for, since she shrugged and flew in close to Featherwind again. She is here, and trust me, I have seen this before. However, what I have not seen is the serious competition to my maneuverability and speed in the air. Starlight is good, don't get me wrong, but she is nowhere near as good as I am. That isn't really her discredit, however. Keeping up with me is way high standards. Most players I can't keep up with me either, even at the Wonderboard Academy, so it's not surprised that the unicorn would also struggle. Supposedly you are the best of the best, though when it comes to flying unicorns, I'm curious if you will finally be a unicorn that can offer me a decent challenge. I don't mind flying with you or bonding. I don't mind flying with you or bonding with you, but I don't want to race, Rainbow. Bit of steel stuck into Featherwind's voice. That made Rainbow Dash thoughtful. She tapped her lips for a few seconds, then came up with a new idea. Okay then, forget the race. The Rainbow waved both forward hooves away from her. At least until you warm up to the idea. I would still like to race you if you change your mind, but how about we change the idea to this one? Let's go for a fly and see where that takes us. I would also like to see your fastest speed too, so how about this? Instead of a race, whichever one of us is faster slows down for the other. If I fly faster, then I slow down to match your speed, It's easier to evaluate you if I do that anyway, because then I will be right beside you. If you fly faster, which I since I doubt you will, Rainbow said with a brief roll of your eyes, but if you do, then you slow down and match with me. Either way, we fly together. I still get my questions answered, and there will be no winner or loser. How does that sound? And I can also lie that I slow down for you when you do that for me. That's a better proposal. Halloween agreed. So you will do it? Rainbow Dash asked with rising hope. If it will make you happy, then sure. Besides, the bonding part of your proposal actually sounds important, and it would give me an idea how fast you fly as well. Someday that information might become important, so I agree to your revised proposal. Great, let's go! On count 3. 1, 2, I didn't mean right now. Ah, why not? Rainbow Dash complained impatiently. Because he said no, Rainbow Dash. Cut him some slack. Oh, it's Applejack, okay. Applejack scolded as she trotted over to the two of them. She gave a sheepish grin to Featherwing and tipped her hat to him. I'm sorry about my friend here. I'm afraid she gets a little competitive. Truth to be told, I've been known to be so as well from time to time. No, you are still competitive as heck. Oh yeah, I remember some of our matches. Rainbow said with a fond competitive grin. Those were some good times. Hey, Featherwind, have you met my sister Maud yet? Pinkie Pie asked as she showed up with a very extended limb that pulled close to her dark grey sister. Oh, Maud is here as well, with a slight bluish grey mane that was brushed back neatly and cut short. I'm curious about this meeting, because actually Featherwind might bond with her really well. Maud was among the few in the room to wear any clothes at all, but it wasn't much. It was just a dark grey sweatshirt that almost matched the color of her mane. Every pony is here. We can play the Smash logo right here. Everyone is here. Truthfully, the answer was no before that moment. I had not met her sister, and the contrast between her and Pinkie was almost startling. When I looked at Maud, I concentrated for her, because she looked like she was struggling to stay awake. The deadpan look on her face was indicated either boredom or exhaustion. If the latter was true, that was really bad, because at the time clone, she was stuck in whatever conditions she was drawn from. If she was exhausted, she would never be anything but exhausted. I'm Maud. Maud said, very simply, while looking at Featherwind with a deadpan expression. Hi. Brilliant speech! Pinkie cheered. Encore! 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 Pinkie Pie cried out by whirling one of her hooves above her in a rapid circle. Featherwind relaxed. He had Maud figured out now, at least enough to relax his concerns. She wasn't tired. She simply acted this way all the time. Pinkie Pie, may I ask you something? Applejack tentatively brought up, since whatever the subject matter was made her uncomfortable. You certainly may. Pinkie said as she stood up straight and put both of her forward hooves on her lips while leaning forward towards Applejack a bit. No offense, but why did you bring your sister along for this journey? Applejack asked as regarded Maud with concern. You know what we are up against, right? You know what Maud is capable of. She is one of the best in Celestia's army in one of the possible futures. Only the ultimate evil and the source of all dark magic in Equestria, duh! Pinkie said quickly with a roll of her eyes and a casual dismissive wave of her hoof. Also, she is a rock specialist. She has she learned rockology. So, what is this dark magic coming from? It's from a meteor. It's a rock. I don't care if it's a dark star, it's still a rock. Bringing Maud here is the best idea. Yeah, I know. Applejack discomfort grew even worse. I know she can smash rocks and all, but come on, Pinkie Pie, why Maud? I just don't want to see her get hurt, is all. Because she's the most stupendous, awesome, totally amazing sister and best friends ever. Duh! Pinkie stated, as if that should have been obvious. It's obvious, isn't it? Actually, Applejack, I'm with Pinkie Pie on this one. Rainbow Dash announced to Rainbow Jack. Really? Applejack regarded a flying friend with surprise. Why? Please tell me because I really want to know. I'm really concerned for her. Don't be. Rainbow Dash waved Applejack off. Remember the first time we met Maud? Yes, I do. Applejack confirmed. She raced across the obstacle course in seconds and smashed the rock to pieces to save Pinkie Pie. I know, but those were very specific circumstances. I'm not sure how she can hoover the records of war itself in all fronts. We do know. We do know. And actually Twilight knows as well. Not to talk about Star Sword. Actually, I was going to bring up a different point. Remember the time we all spent time on one-on-one with Maud, so she would not get overwhelmed? Featherwind regarded Maud to see how she reacted to others' ponies talking about her right in front of her. If there was a change to her reaction, it wasn't obvious. That just might be one of the best poker faces he had ever seen. I do. Applejack confirmed again. Well, when it came to my my turn with Maud, she chucked the rock so hard and so large it flew miles away, and when it landed, it actually created a mushroom cloud. Rainbow informed. Yup, that happened. Really? Applejack regarded Maud in confusion. Well, that don't make a lick of sense, Maud. Maud looked at Applejack. Remember the time I visited your family with Harmstorming Eve for the first time and I actually clocked over Warder's border to Lower Quarry? Yes, you planted your flagpole on the fourth line. Maud reminded very thoughtfully. Yeah, that would be the one. Applejack looked impressed, so she moved on with her point, in hopes to skip past that part faster. Maud is also responsible for Glimmer starting a cult. A cult of flying kites. I know you mean the other cult, but sure. Well, I'm deeply sorry for the inconvenience I caused, but my point is this. I left the farm for a little while in shame of what I had done, but later came back to apologize and make amends. When I got back, I saw you and your family trying to in vain to push Hoda's border back up in the quarry. The thing is, you were among your family, and I remember you specifically saying, and I quote, "I'm pushing as hard as I can too." Well, according to Rainbow Dash here, Applejack gave a brief gesture to Rainbow, while she continued to regard Maud. You can chuck a rock beyond the horizon, far enough and hard enough to cause a mushroom cloud. I feel as she exaggerated a bit. But if she's not, then what gives? Might you have super strength in one moment, and yet you could not push a rock up a quarry, even with all your family in other moment? Because it was another type of rock. Applejack, it was a different type of rock. The flagpole was a much heavier one. It's that easy. Maud almost answered and opened her mouth to do so, but her sister interrupted. Because she's a pie, that's why. Pinkie Pie answered. What does she being a pie have to do with any of this? Applejack questioned Pinkie Pie. Also, isn't the Pie family distant relatives to us? The Apple family? Didn't you get that memo before? Aren't you an apple to the core as well? Because, silly, she can only perform super feats and of amazing strength, and other feats that defy physics, only during those moments of comedic effect. Pinkie Pie explained. There we go. What now? Applejack looked more confused, squinting one eye shut as she asked. So let me get this straight. She can only shock a rock beyond the horizon, only when it's funny to do so? Yeah. Pinkie agreed, enthusiastically. I am funny. Maud thought in a flat, deadpan way. The dark star is a rock. If as fast, Pinkie and Maud can eat it. True. True, I guess. That command made Pinkie burst out laughing, then said by slapping her sister back several times over. Good for Maud! Classic Maud! Oh, they are rock biter! Rock bitter! They are rock eaters. Starbase also burst into snicker for 5 seconds. That was no joke, Pinkie. Maud objected, which made her sister laugh out louder. Remember how I told you never question Pinkie Pie? Rainbow Dash reminded Applejack. Yeah, Applejack replied. Well, Rainbow Dash briefly rolled her eyes, then went on to say, probably a good idea to extend the definition to a whole family. Rainbow amended. I'm just trying to understand this because it might become a life or death situation out there. Applejack cried out. So she can only perform unusual feats for comedic effect? To whom? The joke is aimed at whom? The question caused Pinkie to immediately cease laughing, so she could roll back into her hooves and answer. To the audience, silly! Applejack squinted one eye at Pinkie Pie, and it was even twitching a bit. What in the hay of a question are you going on about, Pinkie Pie? What audience could you possibly be talking about? The audience that always watches us. Pinkie announced with a small spooked eyes that quickly shifted left and right. They are all around us. They are everywhere. In fact, some are reading about us right now. Some are actually listening to somebody reading to us. Reading about us. Yep. What did I just say about questioning Pinkie Pie? Rainbow Dash reminded Applejack. Maud Pie is a living, breathing pony catapult. Just accept it and move on with our lives. Did somebody here say catapult? Discord asked, as he suddenly appeared within a brief flash of white light. I love catapults. They are so useful. He slapped his paw and the catapult suddenly materialized beside him. Except there was one twist. The ammunition for this weapon was a large bowl full of cats that were meowing. One of those who stood there at that moment, only Applejack had a chance to notice that some of those cats originally belonged to Apple family historian, Gordy Delicious. Ratty's cat, or presence, was also hidden among the bunch. Doesn't anybody think that this weapon has a perfect ammunition? He leaned his face heavily forward and twisted it to the side so one eye aimed at them when he said the word burr, to put an even greater emphasis on the specific part of the word. Speak by still praised the fourth wall in everywhere. Even after her death, she released messages all over the places. I started to read that at one point. Both Applejack and Rainbow Dash Cemetery slapped their faces with a hoof due to this bad pun. How funny of you, Featherwind said to Discord with an amused grin. At last! Discord cried out triumphantly and ecstatically. Somebody who actually gets me! Don't encourage him, Rainbow Dash recommended Featherwind with a really dry look to him. Just please, don't! You better not launch those cats, Discord, or Fluttershy will be might upset at you. Applejack warned Discord in a flat tone and a broad narrow straight, aimed at him. Discord looked disappointed. Yes, I suppose you're right. Agreed reluctantly. He snapped at the same paw, and the catapult instantly disappeared. He decided to shift the subject, by secretly in pursuit of a master plan. By the way, did I overhear any of your ponies mention something about audience? He tapped the tips of his eagle claw and the lion paws together and raised his eyeballs together, up and down when he mentioned the word audience, as if that was a secret and naughty word. Yeah, I did. Pinky answered. I was telling them about the spooky audience that is always watching us, judging, shaping us, and staring at us even in every single detailed moment of every single moment of our life. Never mind what she said, Discord. Rainbow recommended with a dismissive wave of hoof. She's just being Pinkie Pie right now. Rainbow Dash rolled her eyes, then said under her breath, a little extra Pinkie Pie right now if you ask me. Yes! Discord agreed with his and cunning, mischievous narrow-eyed look to Rainbow Dash. But isn't Pinkie Pie here the one who can sense oncoming threats? I seem to recall the time when Travelfucker tested that extensively, until she eventually concluded that it must be true, even if she could not understand it. I don't like where this is going, Applejack complained with a nervous suspicion. How do you know any of that anyway? You were still locked in stone back then, Rainbow Dash pointed out. Discord chucked evilly under his breath as he brought the tips of his eagle claw and lion paw together, then said, I know this. Because? Plot twist! I am one up to your audiences! I was also not trapped in rock, I was just molting. Isn't that right, audience? Discord was never trapped in stone. He was just molting. We learned this in the last episode. You are? Pinky gasped with intense astonishment. At that moment, 3 seconds long dramatic reveal music actually played among them, which they could hear. Actually, he was in space, but in Captain Picard. He might have been, yup. Discord secretly caused that music, though some could assume Pinky was actually capable of summoning that sound effect from out of nowhere. What? That's crazy talk, Rainbow objected. Then how do I know all this, Rainbow Dash? Discord challenged Rainbow Dash in a tang tone, and mischievous narrow eyes stared at her. Well, because... Rainbow rolled her eyes around, as if checking around the room for explanation. Then she said, because you are Discord and you are just messing with our heads right now. You probably use your freaky powers to check back in time or something, that's it. Rainbow crossed her upper legs across her chest, and she said, I'm not falling for your tricks again. Actually, a really good explanation would be time travel, but sure. Even if what you say is true. Then I look back in time. When I look back in time, didn't I become one of your audiences? Discord countered cunningly. I suppose that's true. Applejack figured with a nervous glance to Rainbow Dash, then looked alarmed as she realized something else. She looked back at Discord with an accusing look. Hey, you better not be spying on us all times, like when we sleep or other things. Discord laughed out loud before answering. Ha ha ha! Oh, wouldn't you like to know? That's why I asked. Applejack said with a rising irritation. You better not be spying on my little sister. I'll be real upset with you. Well, Pinkie Pie is right about one thing. We are being read about right now at this very moment. The Discord said with an evil grin towards Pinkie Pie, to whom he also talked with a sly wink. Just ignore him, Applejack. Rainbow Dash recommended to her friend. He's just messing with us like he always does. I'm serious. Discord declared enthusiastically. Here, I prove it to you. He snapped his eagle claw, and the book suddenly materialized in front of Tina. He could, and it fell. He flipped through it at a high speed. It's a fascinating read. You really should take a look. It's mostly about the father telling his daughter about the amazing stories he lived through his past in a manner similar to flashback. What's curious is the title, though, for it is something of a misnomer. He closed the book and regarded the cover by rubbing his chin with his lion paw. Despite the title of the being Skydancer, the first flying unicorn. Well, how many force fists are you going to break? There are not many left standing. This could announced which immediately seized Featherwind's attention. The book isn't actually about Skydancer. Discord went on. He is mentioned in here a couple of times, particularly in some of the earlier chapters in the book, but he's actually just a Pegasus. How positively misleading and deceitful. I love it. Discord? Featherwind approached tentatively. Yes? Discord axis leaned in close to Featherwind's face and asked a question with sinister cunning. Even the lighting on his face changed a bit to eliminate just how devious he looked when he asked that question. Can I borrow that book for a second? Featherwind requested. I give it right back to you, I promise. Oh, you most certainly may! Discord said with an intense delight, and handed the book to Featherwind. As he did, Featherwind half suspected he heard a maniacal chuckle. He was definitely up to something, and he wasn't even trying to hide that fact as well. Featherwind didn't care. The title of this book definitely had his attention, and he wanted to get to the bottom of this eventually, so he paused a moment and closed his eyes. He channeled his energy to the red crystal. Upon doing so, a red line went back and forth among the book, scanning it, and thereafter creating a copy of it in Crystal Sage's virtual library. After that, he opened his eyes again and offered the book back. Thanks, Discord, Featherwind said in appreciation. Also, that means Featherwind never actually read this book. It was a copy of a future of a copy of a future. It makes no sense how I said it, but you see. It's a time paradox. This book is a time paradox right here. Thanks, Discord, Featherwind said in appreciation. So let me get this straight. When Featherwind said to his daughter that he is going to get his notes he wrote written down, he actually went and read the book of what he should say at this point. He actually was reading the script of his own story. To remember what he has to say. Thanks, Discord, Featherwind said in appreciation. As I said, you are most certainly welcome. At least some pony around here appreciates me and my most terrible jokes. You can say that again, Rainbow Dash agreed with a roll of her eyes. Seriously, Featherwind, if you actually find his jokes funny, then you lost a lot of coolness points in my book. I admit, he is strange, but also really funny. Really fun, and he has fascinating perspective on the universe. Featherwind said sincerely. By discussing it with him, I feel I better understand the nature of my own reality. That might be one of the reasons I successfully defied the impossible so many times. Yeah, we will see about that. Rainbow Dash said with a daring look to Featherwind. So far you are all talk. We will see how fast you can really go. Featherwind shouted. If you are flying with me, then I see how fast you can go as well. That's fair. Not if I have to slow way the hay down to match you. Rainbow Dash pointed out. Then all you would learn is how fast you can go. But if you want to see my full awesomeness in action, after that, I would totally be willing to show you. I'm a wonderboard after all. Entertainment is my middle name. Rainbow Entertainment Dash. As Rainbow Dash said the last sentence, she waved a hoof in front of her, which paused at 3 points along the wave as she answered each name separately. I wonder if we should go further. There is not too much. This guy doesn't like those force walls, so he chucks a grenade at over and over again. I guess that's right. I guess, let's see how much space. Okay, we will get to the next stopping point and there we will stop. Because I still want to stream a little bit of Persona and I still want to put the next episode out on YouTube. Which I'm still writing this thing right here, which is gonna be put on it. I'm not showing it, right, what's written on here, because it's not written fully. I have a feeling that Phil's favorite pony is Rainbow Dash. We will see about that. Might be. Let's switch music for this. Do you still have that book? Starbeam interjected. You know, you said you made a copy of it in a jam. Is it still there? Of course it is. Featherwind replied to his daughter. Inside this jam, the book has no additional weight. While it could be erased since then, there was no reason to. Well, Starbeam lightly tapped her hoofs, together 3 times. She asked for a moment. Have you read it since then? Sounds like you were too busy back then, but since then, you have had years to take a look at it. Featherwind nodded. Actually, I have, several times in fact, but it's been years since I last read it. Liar! Liar, Featherwind. You actually read it right now, like an hour ago, when you stopped to look at your notes. What is it all about? Starbeam asked curiously. Featherwind rolled his eyes and gave a low whistle. He looked at his daughter for a moment, then looked forward. This is going to sound really strange, but the book is mostly written about this conversation we are having right now. Starbeam widened her eyes. Right now? As in, right now? Featherwind nodded. More specifically, the book actually opens up with you resting with your back on the cloud and wistfully gazing up at the stars. Reading on further, we still learn it's your birthday. At it, you inquire into my past in the hopes of learning how you might defy the impossible as well. You were hoping to learn magic. Featherwind passed his daughter a meaningful look. He has made his own notes about his journey in the jam too. That's true. But you can deny the possibility that he actually read the book instead. Oh my, Celestia! Starbeast said in astonishment, "You mean to tell me the book is about you telling me about your past as in the thing we are doing right now?" "Indeed." Once again, Starbeast applied a hoof to her head and had it burst from her head with an explosive sound effect. Then another question occurred to her. She looked back at her father and asked, "Did you actually read it to the end?" "No, can't deny the possibility." Father Wind pressed his hooves together and leaned forward as he put his collected hooves under his chin, while he said, "Eventually, I did read it back then, but I stopped at this exact conversation we are having right now, or somewhere at this point. I did not want to read ahead into my future back then, so rest assured I continued to behave like I was blind from spoilers, same as I always was. The only difference is, from that point forward, I learned there was a book out there in existence that was written about my conversation with you in the future, and I explained to you about my past." "Then you already knew you would have a daughter with Stone Wing, and you also knew that what you had to name her." Starbeast realized in astonishment. "You knew that before I was even born." She read it further again. "How did that make you feel back then?" Father Wind lightly shrugged. "Back then I had other hints leading to the same conclusion, but when I first reached that conclusion," he paused as he shrugged again, "by then I had already grown accustomed to being a time traveler. That experience helped me to teach me how we are connected, because I said I'm not gonna tell you if you were there or not, but you were there." I was stunned at the news, but I also accepted the prospect. It was simply something to look forward to, and in the meantime, I had other things to concentrate on and to enjoy. I could afford to be patient with the arrival of my daughter. I decided I would let things play out moment to moment. I will say, I did eventually finish that book, and I continued my life, and the events of the future gradually became the past. I found it was finally safe to read on, and kind of relieved the old memories. Father Wind looked at his daughter. "I have to say, that is curious how the book never did mention actually how old you are right now. I had to make an educated guess based on the information the book presented. By reading from it, I knew for sure you were not an infant. You could talk and fly too well for that age, but at the same time, the syntax you spoke with, your general personality, your grammar style of speech, as well as a few other hints also suggested you were neither a teenager or nor fully adult yet. If I had to guess back then, I would say you were somewhere between 7 years of age and 11. Of course, I don't have to guess right now. Your birthday hasn't expired. Are you gonna say it?" And we both know how old I am right now. We don't need to say it. No. The readers don't know it. Starbeast pointed out. Father Wind nodded in agreement. "Right, but that kind of presented a problem for me back then. Back when I first read the book. But I knew that one day we would be having this conversation. I did not know exactly when it happened, because the book never mentioned your age, or the date straight on. I had to guess when this conversation would take place. One thing I did remember was the fact that you would ask about my past. That was the trigger condition I was waiting for. As soon as you asked that, I knew for sure the time had come to finally tell my story and bring this time loop to a full circle." She's actually dumb, and this is in her 20s, but as smart as a fool. Who knows? The book told me this conversation would take place at the cliff where I first found my kitty mark. And lo and behold, here we are. Yeah, I have chosen this spot to tell my story anyways, regardless of what I read before. It just seems appropriate. Did Did Mom ever read the book? No. Father Win shook his head. She knew of it, and she knew I read of it and had a basic idea of what the book was about. But she didn't trust anything coming from Discord. She wouldn't give him the satisfaction of playing into one of his little jokes. Besides, your mom isn't connected to this jam anyway. I would actually laugh if Discord changed some of the book contents. Just to mess with him. Because he can just do that as well. She couldn't read it even if she wanted to. At best, I could have read it out loud to her or copy it down manually. Then she could read that copy, but that never happened. So, Mom still disliked him after all this time? Strawberries realized with a little bit of disappointment. Yep, that's a possibility. This could also do that. What if he actually named Star... I just realized something. He is responsible for the title. He is the one that suggested that, oh my god, it's about it's about Skydancer, who is a Pegasus, who was only mentioned a little bit. He changed the title from Featherwind the First Flying Unicorn to Skydancer the First Flying Unicorn, didn't he? But Feather is her mother, and was born of gender-changing world, but sent into the future when Feather could take. That could actually happen as well. They never change back. I would say she hates him as much as she used to. Our shared experience together as we made our ways to north to the Dark Star warmed her up to him a little bit. Instead, hating his guts now, she merely dislikes him and would prefer not to hang out with him. She no longer puts her hoof down when it comes to others choosing to hang out, or him however. Besides, there is little she could do to prevent this anyway. Starbase gave this some thought, then asked her father, in that case, who do you think actually wrote the book? Did it say? Featherwind shook his head. The version I got, at least, didn't say. Well, actually there was one name I found, but I suspect it's a fake, a pen name. Huh. Featherwind leaned back. That was something I always wondered for years about the book. I narrowed it down to one of the two possibilities. Either A, the book is genuine, and some creature out there in the multiverse really did write my life story, as I told you. In which case I'm flattered at the interest, as well as the little creep out. Or B, the book is fake and Discord made it up on the spot by pretending some other creature wrote it. Either way, I'm pretty sure he showed it to me, to mess with my head, and that's the essence of the joke. Actually, I would also have to call it an ingenious strategy, for it did, in fact, shape some of my future decisions. For instance, both me and your mother knew what to name you in advance. And it also informed me that it was important that I tell you this story someday. That in turn, shaped the future decisions for you. When time travel is involved, everything circles around full time. Discord ended up causing an intricate and complicated time loop, full of whimsy and intrigue. With just one simple action. I think for a joke when it comes to Discord. I think to help him prevent life from becoming boring. Also, he probably named you, because he can change every little name in the book. He can just search and replace your original name to Starbreeze. Can I read the book? Does it say if I ever do? The answer to your first question is yes. With a bot. I will only expose it to you after I finish telling you the story myself. Also, you will have to learn to turn yourself to the crystal in order to access the information dwelling within. That may or may not take you a while. And the book itself did not specify how long it will take you. The answer to your second question is yes. It does say whether or not you will ever do manage to read it someday, but I will leave that part up to you to write. Wait. Didn't you say you didn't read it fully? Father Wind? Why are you lying? If it says that she reads the book at some point later on, that means you finished the book. Or at least got far later in the story than you are right now. He said he didn't read it fully, but not back then. He did read it later? I thought he stopped at this point where they are because he didn't want to spoil it himself. Eventually I did read it back then, but I stopped at this exact conversation. This is what you said. This is all you said. So he didn't read it fully. That's what you said. And up to this point in the book, she shouldn't have read it, so he lied. He read it fully. But again, don't forget the part that he eventually missed some of the stories. He didn't tell everything that's in the book. I have a feeling that everything that is in the book is not what he's saying, especially the one about Star Breeze herself. But we will see. You said and said, okay, in that case, hurry up and finish your story. Impatient little furry, aren't you? Father Vintis, yeah, well, I'm just excited. But you will have to wait another 2 days. I'm sorry for that. But yeah, this is the point where we are gonna stop. I still want to play some Persona, if that's okay with you. And I still have to finish this writing that you don't see. I still want to release episode 11 for you today, and I still have a little bit of time for that. So this is the point where we are gonna stop. Oh, come on, man! Stop his guns. And I'm still finishing some art. Good thing. Thank you for the reading. So you have 2 days about this. Yeah, I'm gonna put up the notification for you already after this ends, and you can wait for episode 11 because it's gonna be put up today. I'm gonna go now and eat, and then after a bit of waiting, I'm gonna stream some Persona, but not immediately. That is always big. Yeah, I was notified about it way before. I saw it in the 16th of May when he finished it. But yeah, I'm just gonna stop right now, and we will talk about what I think about the story in itself when I finish it. And from 2 days now on, I think that's enough space. That's gonna be, I can finish it in one go. That's gonna be good. So we are just teasing Quill. We are teasing a lot for Starbreeze, who might not have her original name because Discord named her. Now that's a theory. But yeah, I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna go make some food, finish this writing, release the next episode of My Pony, and then I'm gonna stream something after I'm eating. So, see you later. Bye bye. Be positive. Think I make something to eat as well. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Again, if you are not here later, good night, good evening, good day, whatever time it is for you when you are watching this, and see you next time. Bye bye.